You can say that. Yeah.
How are you handling the snow?
It's fine. I mean, I'm not used to it, but it's cool. Really, just like getting adapted to it, man. I actually got stuck like 2 days ago when it first came down in the middle of the street, but some kind people helped me out, so I can't complain. But it's cool though. I just try to stay warm.
This opportunity to have this extra year that everybody got for obviously for last year. What has the chance meant for you? What has it meant to have another year like you're getting right now?
It's been special, man. You know, and I mean, I tell guys all the time, that you don't get these times back, so enjoy them. Especially being at this age and at this point and in college at this time. It's a very unique time, and so I just try to enjoy each moment. And try to maximize every opportunity.
When you say it's a unique time, what do you mean by that?
Just being like you can go to college, when you're 30 or 40, but you'll never be able to go at this age again, So being able to be a athlete, and experience the times, and even with the COVID stuff, it's still some good out of that, and just being able to, be that college student and enjoy it, man, from the sports all the way, throughout the whole college experience.
Obviously it's a little bit of a different role than what you had in Louisiana.
Hmm.
What has it been like adapting to that, knowing that you go from a guy that was going to probably get as many shots as anybody to having to make your minutes really count?
Hmm.
What has that adjustment been like for you?
I mean, it's an adjustment, but I've been taking it, right between the eyes, day and day. Not really, thinking about it. Just, like I say, maximizing my opportunity. Like I say, every opportunity I get, I just try to go out there and, help my team win. So that's really the biggest thing, as far as adjusting to it and just staying ready.
When obviously, the starting and stopping hasn't kind of been ideal for you guys, but I'm curious as an older guy, is it kind of not allowing you to get in that rhythm that you're used to? Obviously, you're not this year for sure the Big Ten, but I mean, what January and February is supposed to be like in terms of conference play and things like that.
Hmm.
I mean, is it kind of messing things up? How does it feel as an older guy to kind of, go through it when, you're used to kind of the same rhythm year in and year out?
I mean, I think as you get older, it's just part of life. When you walk outside, everything don't go as planned. So you just gotta continue to have the same approach, and regardless what whatever it throws at you, just gotta be able to respond to it. So I wouldn't say it's like interfering with anything for us, like my adaptability or like my focus level or even the team's focus level. Just we got enough guys on the team that keep everyone together and corral that we just be ready for the next team, whether it's Rutgers or the game that got canceled or anything. Just staying ready and just approaching every day with the same mentality. So that's about it.
Yeah, do you feel like, I don't know, I mean, there's been a lot of, whether it's, COVID, whether it's schedule
Mhm.
changes, whether, like, it seems like you guys have had a lot of, schedule adversity and
Mhm.
just adversity in general. Do you
Mhm.
feel like that's bringing this team closer? And do you feel like closer to the guys because you're being a part of, like, this shared experience?
For sure, for sure. And I mean, it's a good group of guys in the locker room, and we lean and spend a lot of time with each other. So it definitely helps when you got guys who you like in the locker room, and I feel like everyone likes each other enough. So it's like we really don't even have time to kind of reflect on that and just really just staying ready for the next the next game and the next opponent.
What has the coaching staff told you maybe, or what do you feel like you have to do to be able to earn more consistent minutes? Because you had a really good run there, but then a little bit less of a role the other night. But what do you feel like you have to do to really earn more consistent minutes on the stretch?
I'm not sure, honestly. Really just staying ready, man. And whenever I get that opportunity, just show what I can do. That's about it. Staying consistent in practice and continue to do what I'm doing.
Do you have conversations with the coaches about that though?
Here and there, you know.
So you talked about your adjustment to Ohio State and whatnot. You had the most experience on the team, no matter your role. How do you see yourself sharing that with guys like Michi and Malachi, guys who are hungry to get more of a bigger role in college basketball? How do you kind of share your wisdom with them?
You know, really, I mean, I feel like the best thing we can give, to, as human beings is, information, and knowledge. And so just really giving those guys the jewels that guys gave me, man, and, motivating those guys and pushing those guys to be, great players, like I said, it's a good group of guys, and that's what I'm here to do, if I can't help create value in anyone else's life, then what am I here for? So just being able to help those guys and things that I didn't went through, or adversity or little walls that I didn't hit, just kind of give them little pieces of knowledge that I I have got from other players, and help them maneuver through those things. So I enjoy doing it.
What are your impressions of E.J. Liddell's growth over the course of this season? Because he's talked about in national conversations and whatnot, and how big of a role he has. What are your impressions of him and his work ethic and just his grind to perform as well as he does?
Man, EJ's a great player, man. Like you said, he's talked about in national conversations, and rightfully so. He deserves. He works hard. He's one of the hardest workers on the team, and he deserves everything that's coming his way. But like I said, he's a great guy, great locker room guy, great player, and he's gonna reap everything that he put into it.
You mentioned a minute ago about, for you personally, just enjoying the college experience, and you did transfer from Louisiana to here. What about Ohio State have you enjoyed, maybe away from basketball, that you've just taken away since your transfer here?
We got, great people here, man. Like I said, when I got stuck, in the middle of the road with the snow, guys hopped out their cars and helped me, but just great people, great fan base, man, great, alumni, and, like I say, they welcome me with open arms since I've been here. So, I have nothing but love for those people.
Have any particular alumni really connection with you in particular?
I mean, here and there, but more so, like I'd probably say I was closest with probably Greg Oden. Greg Oden, he's a great guy, man, and just having him around and being able to pick his brain and talk to him, it's really been fun.
Do you remember watching Greg as a player?
For sure, man. And man, my godfather, me and him, we joke and talk about it all the time and stuff. And so, but now for sure, I remember watching him as a player and being able to, actually sit with him and talk to him now is definitely, a blessing.
You were talking a minute ago about making your opportunity and making the most of whatever opportunity that you do get. Coach Holtmann on the radio show on Monday was saying how opposing coaches are definitely noticing when you're checking into the game and making adjustments. How have you felt teams starting to plan for you and adapt to you as you've had this kind of recent stretch of games?
I mean, I don't really know, honestly. I don't really, kind of like, I don't dwell or think about it. Like I said, when I get in, I'm checked, and I'm not really worried about what the opposing coach or players, have scouted me on, And so I just go out there and, like I say, make the most of my opportunities, and it almost kind of works out good. But at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not worried about, what other teams or other coaches are talking about. I'm just going out there and playing my game.
I just wasn't sure if you felt the game changing at all when you start showing up more on a scouting report. I would think that you might feel the defense a little bit more, or you might notice the team defending you a little bit differently.
I mean, with against Maryland, one of the coaches was like, he can shoot the ball, but he was like close out to him, tight. But I mean, that's about it though. I mean, I don't really feel intimidated or anything by it.
Sure. You said something a minute ago. You said if I can't create value in anyone else's life, what am I here for? I've not heard too many college basketball players say something maybe quite that deep. Where does that come from?
I had to say, really just, for my mom and my upbringing, At the end of the day, as we all want to, I'm not going to be able to play the game of basketball the rest of my life, So, and nor, same with, materialistic things, you can't take it when you leave. So just being able to, what type of effect can you, have on people once you gone, What are they going to talk about? How many points you scored, or, the effect that you had on their life, And so that's just one, thing that I try to, leave wherever I go, whether, you know, it's back home or, you know, wherever, you know, just being able to leave an effect on people that, you know, how do they talk about you when you're outside the room. And so that's one thing my mom really instilled in me. So definitely that.
How do you ensure, I mean, obviously, like, you know, heading into, you know, the back end of Big Ten play into tournament time, like, it seems like, at least from my end, that things are picking up a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of games that are to be played here in the next month. And it seems like, you know, whether it's a grind or however you may describe it, how do you ensure those moments happen that you were just describing? How do you ensure those moments happen coaches to make that impression, the one that's kind of been instilled in you?
Really just showing up and being the same guy every day, man. That's the best way to do it, you know, just show up and like I said, when you do things with a pure heart, you honestly, you know, you can't lose, you know, you just learn. And so just really showing up and being that same guy and just being true to myself, you know, being true to my teammates, being true to, you know, my coaching staff, and just coming in and working every day, man. And when things like when you know, instilled in you and you routine to it, it's gonna show no matter what, you know. So when you just go out there and just be yourself, and like when I be myself throughout practice and throughout games, it shows, and these guys can see that.
Is that something maybe, obviously it's a little early to talk legacy and something that you want to, you know, pass on, be remembered for in this year, but is that something that you want to be remembered for? Is that kind of description, that, you know, selfless kind of, is that the legacy you want to leave and kind of pass on to the members of the roster?
For sure. I mean, that's part of it. Like I say, man, I'm Cedric, the basketball player. I'm not basketball player, Cedric, you know. So that's really just what I want to leave on with these guys. And like I say, you know, not really necessarily getting caught up in the basketball title with just me as a person, you know. And like I say, I feel like all these guys can kind of see that since they've been around me.
When you leave home like you did,
Mm-hmm.
you were able to play close to home, close to family, you leave home for maybe the first time, do you feel that a little bit more?
Like what you mean, like?
Like do you talk about wanting guys to understand that it's not about material things, it's about, you know, like I forget exactly how you put it earlier, but trying to make impacts on people that aren't just materialistic. Do you get more of an understanding or an appreciation for having left that sort of impact on people when you leave home for the first time, and maybe talking to people back there as far as how you're able to do that while you were back home?
For sure. And like I said, whether I was here, you know, or in Louisiana, you know, it's just that's the type of person I am. So being able to, you know, do that, like I get joy out of that. You know, I don't do it to come up here and say I did it, or, you know, to get like some pat on the back for it. I do it because I feel like that's the right thing to do, and that's just the type of person I am.
Can I ask about Rutgers? Veteran team, tough place to play.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see out of them? And I mean, you had some tough road games, Indiana, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
How do you avoid falling into that same kind of trap, I guess?
Really, man, just with the approach, you know, and you know, Rutgers is a good team. You know, they just beat a really talented team, you know, by 20 at home. So just, you know, having that focus and that approach, and coming today on days like this and get ready to work, man. That's it, you know, because at the end of the day, it's February, almost March, so anybody can almost beat anybody and get hot. So just really not underestimating anyone. It's just, you know, taking each game, you know, one game at a time, and being focused, man, and ready.
Saturday, thank you, man. Thanks, Cedric.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys, a couple updates here as we get ready for a really good Rutgers team and full week ahead here with 2 road games. Before I touch on them, one note on our roster. Seth Towns will be out the remainder of the season. He's going to continue to rehab and will do everything he can to return to full health, and I'm disappointed for Seth. I know he's had a go of rough injuries. He's a terrific young man and has really worked at this thing. It's a separate injury from his knee. His knee is actually feeling considerably better, the best it's felt. This is more a back issue, and this was something that literally we just got news on in the last kind of 24 hours. So up until that point, we assumed that he was going to be able to return at some point. As far as Rutgers, tremendous respect for them. I think they're talented and really well coached, and they are just tremendous at home. They're a good team regardless. Home, road, they fight you. Home, road, but they're obviously an elite team at home. When you look at who they've beaten, their scores, the quality of their play, it's really as challenging of an environment on the road as really you'll see in this league, both because of how tough and physical and aggressive they play. They have an elite defense, their talent level, how well coached they are, the whole challenge. So it'd be a great challenge for us, and obviously we've got a full week here, but want to specifically talk about our first game.
Chris, with Seth, was there a setback, or was it just couldn't get to where?
Yeah, I think the doctors just said, hey, let's just shut you down and focus on rehab. That's what that was they evaluated him early this week within the last, I think, 24, 36 hours, and that's the evaluation they made. There was no setback.
Okay. Would this preclude him playing basketball in the future? Or is
No.
it early tell on something like that?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think that'll be his decision. But no, I don't. This is not a career ending.
Okay.
This is by no means a career ending injury for Seth. It's a season ending injury, but not a career ending.
When you have a guy who has been through everything that he's been through, he talked when he committed here about how much he wanted people at Ohio State to see how much it meant to him to put that jersey on. How have you got an appreciation for, the fans haven't gotten to see maybe as much as I'm sure he would like, but I'm sure you probably have some appreciation for what he's had to battle through just to try to get out there. How much has it meant to him that you've seen to have this chance here?
Well, I think that's a real thing for the young man and his family. I think it's a real thing for him to put on a Buckeye uniform and to represent it. It matters to him. He said that when he committed. It was true when he committed. It's been true every day since. He really meant it. It's important for him to represent this university. It means something to him. He's a Columbus kid, and I'm optimistic that his days in a Buckeye uniform aren't over. I really am. But for him, it's disappointing that he didn't get a chance to get out there with his teammates this year and perform, because he worked all summer for that. But again, I think there'll be, I'm optimistic there'll be brighter days for him.
Obviously, you've been without Seth and Justice for a while, and you've been holding out hope kind of over the course of these past few months. But does this kind of bring? Were you planning for this? Was this something that you kind of expected in terms of the depth of your roster playing without them?
No.
Without Seth? Or?
Yeah, no. I mean, you never plan for. Seth and Justice were both critical for our team last year, and certainly for the success. They both played important roles in kind of the season we had, particularly in January in our Big Ten tournament run. So I think they both weren't feeling, great towards the end of the year, but they were important contributors. So you never plan on not having two integral guys. We planned in the offseason for both of those guys. But fortunately, we've had other guys that have raised their level and stepped up and been added to our roster that's given us some depth to be able to absorb some of this. But, Seth and Justice, there's been no decision on Justice right now. It's just, I don't think you ever plan for two situations where you have guys out this long.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, especially with Seth, the severity in him working back from this injury over the past few months. Have you seen kind of I guess, have you been planning to use the depth, or were you expecting Seth to come back, or were you expecting?
Yeah, I was under the assumption up until early this week that he was going to return. Yeah.
Have you heard of just basketball activities had Seth been doing in like the last couple of weeks, maybe just to give us an update on what he had been done?
It was a lot of rehab. He had been done some shooting, some light workouts, some light individual skill workouts, a lot of shooting, a lot of one-on-one individual skill workouts. But
have you ever had something like this in your career where you had a plan of two guys that were so integral to what you did last season and were looking forward to using them in a bigger way, and then had to change that plan this season and repeatedly change that from news that you get as the season progresses?
yeah, no, I haven't. Thank goodness. This is my first experience of that level of, you certainly would win in the season saying both of those guys are, Justice was a starter at the wing. Seth was, by all accounts, kind of certainly in your top 8. So to have two in your top 8 that really haven't touched the floor yet, no, that's a first time. Certainly for me as a head coach, really, or as an assistant for that matter.
How have you been able to deal with it?
You just stay in the moment and you really throw yourself into your guys. I think that, unfortunately, that's kind of what happens in athletics, is why you really feel for these two kids that have both played, because they're not played because they're both great kids. Your focus then has to be on your team and figuring out what your rotation is going to look like, and then really investing in those guys that are going to be available. To that point, Gene will be a game time decision. Again, I don't see his foot being something that's going to be long term, but he'll be a game time decision for Rutgers.
You guys are 3-3 on the road in Big Ten play this year. I know it's only February, I think 8th now, but is it too early to start looking as a staff at the seeding for the Big Ten tournament and things
Yes.
like that? Is it just too early?
Way too early. Yeah, it's a good question, but way too early. We're only halfway through Big Ten season for us, and some teams I think maybe have played 11 or 12. I don't know, but for us, we've only played 10 games, so there's so much juggling that'll happen in these last 10 games.
So with that being said, you guys play 5 more games at home, I think 4 on the road, if my math's correct. What do you have to do to get, it's difficult, but above 500 on the road, to make sure that when that time comes to start looking at, possible sitting in Big Ten, you guys are where you want to be, because you were able to get some more wins on the road than you had lost?
Yeah, we've got some really challenging road games. I think you just have to take them one at a time, honestly, and you have to try to take some of the lessons you've learned from 3-3s. Having 3 road wins is pretty good. We certainly would have liked to have had one more, but I think you take some of those lessons you learn from those experiences, try to apply them to the next time you're playing on the road. So we'll take some of those lessons, hopefully we learned at Purdue, and try to be better heading into Rutgers.
Rutgers, I've added this up. Their 5 starters have played 476 games, I think all of it at Rutgers, and combined for 337 starts. I don't think there's any transfers in their starting lineup.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's right. Yeah.
I mean, those numbers seem abnormally high. I know you guys
Yeah.
but this sounds like something really difficult to overcome when you're playing them in their building when
Yeah.
they've already beaten Purdue and Michigan State. Just
Yeah.
what's it going to take, I guess, for you guys to go in there with the proper frame of mind to know that their record doesn't any indication of how
Yeah.
good they are?
That's an absolute true observation, Steve. It's going to take as good effort as we've had all year. I really believe that. Just because of kind of what that place, and I think many of you guys, I know a few of you have been in those environments, in that environment with fans. You know, without fans, it's a completely, Adam, I think you were there without fans last year, a completely different element. But it's just a different situation with fans. So I think it's going to take as complete of a game, certainly as we've played on the road all year, Steve.
It seems like you're getting kind of deep in this process that there's been no movement to announce dates for the games that were missed.
I think one has been announced, our Nebraska
Close on
game.
that?
I think our Nebraska game is, am I right on that? Did they announce this March 1st? Did they not? Am I letting the cat out of the bag on that?
There was a tweet that was deleted
Okay.
from Nebraska.
Are
Well-
you getting feedback that it looks good that both games will be played?
Yes.
Those games are important to you. I mean.
Yes, they absolutely are. Yeah, I am getting feedback. We're much closer, without saying an actual date. Let me just say we're much closer on getting kind of the Nebraska game solidified than we are Iowa. But both, we anticipate playing both for sure, for sure. But Nebraska's should be announced here soon.
What is that process like of trying, because it's not just on you, and it's a tough spot, I would think, because it's not like your program did anything that caused these games to be canceled. I know Nebraska didn't do anything either.
No.
But when it comes down to trying to fit games in on your compressed schedule, what is that balance like of trying to work with the Big Ten and work with the other team and try to find a way that it makes sense for everybody?
Yeah, I think it's a bit complicated, honestly, because you got multiple parties involved, and you know, everybody's got vested interests. So, you know, I think that's anytime you have that situation, it's never that easy with multiple parties who have vested interest and, you know, want appropriate time for preparation for the next opponent and travel concerns. But like I said, you know, and we're just beginning to kind of work with Iowa in the Big Ten. But Nebraska was great. You know, they understood and they've been more than willing. And I think we've got a date set or just about to get set. So we'll move like that towards that with Iowa.
I had a couple of fans reach out to me after the Maryland game. They were wondering, obviously you can't play everybody. When a guy like Jimmy Sotos doesn't get in, a couple people said they saw you talking to him as Harrison checked in. What do you have a conversation with that guy maybe in that moment where we can't play everybody?
Well, it was more of a case of sometimes Jimmy's been very much in our rotation. So sometimes kids take that a different way if they're in the rotation, and then you ask them to go in the last 30 seconds. So it's not the first time with a rotation guy that I've not done that. I've just left guys in there because, you know, sometimes that can be, and Jimmy was great. I just kind of said, hey, I'll put you in if you want, but this is, you know, I understand if you just want to leave it with those guys who are in there. So that was a conversation we had. Jimmy was great. It wasn't like I said, hey, you're not playing. It was more, I just think you're looking at kind of out of respect for him. He's played, and he played in important minutes, and leave it at that.
I got subbed in with less than a second to go in a game once in that exact type situation, so I can understand.
Yeah, kids, not just today, but dating back. I don't know how you felt, but sometimes, particularly if, Jimmy helped us play well against Minnesota a couple games ago. So he's got to stay ready. I'm confident he will stay ready. So that was all that was about.
We were talking with Cedric a little bit about his kind of impacts with his, with his teammates, with the coaches, like off the court, and kind of what he's trying to kind of instill, what his legacy would be, his impact on other people, how that's a focus of his. And I'm curious about how you've seen that from him in just the short time that you've known him, kind of his impact and what that could, like, are you seeing that come to fruition with him in his interactions with you and in his interactions with his teammates?
Well, we've loved, I think his teammates would say the same thing. We've loved having Cedric here. We've loved having him part of our program. We really have. He's a great kid who's, took a chance on coming from a different kind of part of the country and has played a really important role and will continue to do so. And I think he sees himself as a guy who loves to play, loves to hoop, but also it's bigger than just basketball for him. And I love Cedric. We've loved having him. We really have. So we're glad he's a Buckeye here this final year of his college career.
He told us, if I can't create value in anyone else's life, then what am I here for?
Yeah.
Have you found him to be a bit of a deep thinker?
I think we're all still learning more and more about Cedric, but what I found him to be is a quality individual, cares about the right things. So I think it doesn't totally surprise me that would come out of his mouth, because he seems a pretty thoughtful kid and a really quality person.
Coach, can you speak to the challenge of having to play all these games in a short period of time here, but also not wanting guys to get run down or worn down when you have had some injury issues here with several different guys, and obviously that was a huge point of emphasis for you last season with how things ended up at the end of the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah. I think you have to ask me here in a couple weeks. I'll have a better feel then, kind of how, as we're going through it and as we're in the midst of it, I do think I'll have a better feel as to some things that I'm going to need to adjust or would need to adjust or tweak as a staff, because I've just not ever been through a stretch like this of games where they're coming at you, 3 a week, every third day. So I'll have a better feel in a couple weeks as far as how I feel like maybe the toll it's taking on our guys. And like I said, hopefully we can get, Gene back here soon and get to a little more full health.
Chris, you talked earlier in the season about guys just needing reps, and you scheduled IUPUI for that reason.
Yeah.
But to see EJ to go from needing reps to starting to really carve out a nice role to this little setback here, I know you said it's not long term, but what can that do, to a guy, and how do you prevent it from doing something to him?
Yeah, I mean, it can be really frustrating I'm sure. I'm sure it can be really frustrating for him. It's frustrating for us as coaches because we felt the same way. We wanted to continue to see Gene kind of stay in that rhythm because he was so important for us. But again, I don't anticipate him being out long. I think it's a frustrating thing for him. He'll bounce back. He'll be fine. How quickly he gets back into the rhythm that he was, time will tell. But I'm optimistic that once he gets through this, he can remain healthy for the remainder of the season. Anything else? Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.